The steel cage door slams shut, and somewhere in that crowd a ghost is about to show his face. 4 weeks, CM Punk has been hunting shadows, chasing a mystery that's haunted him since Survivor Series War Games. Tonight, the mask comes off, the truth spills out, and revenge is served ice cold on Monday Night Raw. This is the moment the WWE Universe has been begging for, and I promise you, what you're about to witness will shake the foundation of everything you thought you knew about loyalty, betrayal, and what it means to stab a legend in the back. Before we dive into this absolute chaos, I need you to do something for me. If you've been riding with SLAMZONE, if these breakdowns have been your go-to for the real stories behind the madness, hit that subscribe button right now. Not for me, but for you. Because this family we're building here, it's about more than just wrestling. It's about passion, it's about community, and it's about never missing a moment that matters. Drop a comment and tell me who you think is behind that mask before I reveal it. Smash that notification bell so you're first in line every single time we break down the matches that define careers and shatter dreams. We're about to go on a journey together, and I don't want you to miss a single second. Let's rewind to where this nightmare began. Survivor Series War Games. The Vision vs. CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and the Usos. The stakes couldn't have been higher. The World Heavyweight Champion, CM Punk, standing tall in his first major team match since returning to WWE, ready to cement his legacy one more time. You could feel the electricity in that arena, the kind of energy that only happens when legends collide inside the most unforgiving structure in sports entertainment. 2 rings, 1 massive steel cage, and careers hanging in the balance. The match was everything we expected and more. Bodies flying, steel meeting flesh, the crowd on their feet screaming themselves hoarse. Punk was in his element. The veteran, the technician, the man who's seen it all and survived everything. He hit Logan Paul with a GTS that should have ended the night right there, should have sealed the victory for his team. But this business, this beautiful, brutal business, it never goes according to plan. Out of nowhere, like something from a horror movie, a figure dressed entirely in black scaled that massive cage. The crowd went silent for just a heartbeat, that collective gasp when you know something terrible is about to happen but you can't look away. This wasn't just any interference. This was calculated, personal, surgical. The mystery man stood between Punk and Braun Breaker, and for a few excruciating seconds, time seemed to freeze. You could see the confusion in Punk's eyes, that split second of recognition mixed with disbelief. Then it happened. A superkick, sharp and devastating, followed immediately by a curb stomp that drove CM Punk face-first into the canvas. The commentary team went wild, Wade Barrett screaming that it could be Seth Rollins, that the architect might have returned to haunt his greatest enemy. But something felt off. The movements weren't quite right, the build wasn't exactly Seth's, and the visionary was supposed to be recovering from shoulder surgery after Crown Jewel. Before anyone could process what just occurred, the attacker scrambled back over the cage structure like a phantom disappearing into the night. Braun Breaker, seizing the opportunity like the opportunistic predator he is, hit Punk with a spear that echoed through the arena and got the 3 count. Victory for the Vision, but at what cost? Who was this ghost that just handed them the win? The wrestling world exploded with theories. Was it Randy Orton, the Viper, returning to settle old scores with the man whose comeback overshadowed his own return? Was it actually Seth Rollins playing mind games from the shadows? Some folks even threw out wild names like AJ Styles, LA Knight, or even Chris Jericho making a shocking jump from AEW. The speculation was relentless, the theories endless, and CM Punk was left in that ring, staring up at the lights, knowing someone close enough to be dangerous had just cost him everything. But CM Punk isn't the kind of man who stays down. He's never been that guy. From his days in Raw to his legendary runs in WWE, from walking away on his own terms to conquering the Octagon in UFC, Punk has always been about one thing: respect. And when someone disrespects him, when someone crosses that line, he doesn't forget. He doesn't forgive. He hunts. The following weeks on Monday Night Raw became a psychological thriller. The mystery attacker struck again, taking out Rey Mysterio with another brutal stomp, helping Logan Paul pick up cheap victories. Every appearance added fuel to the fire burning inside CM Punk. You could see it in his promos, hear it in his voice. This wasn't just about winning matches anymore. This was personal. This was about honor. This was about making someone pay for thinking they could hide behind a mask and destroy everything Punk had worked to rebuild since his emotional return to WWE. General Manager Adam Pearce tried to investigate, sending referee Eddie Orengo on a mission to uncover the attacker's identity. It went nowhere, as we all expected. The Vision, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Logan Paul, and the mysterious Paul Heyman denied any knowledge, though their smirks told a different story. And through it all, that hooded figure kept appearing, kept interfering, kept driving CM Punk closer and closer to the edge. Then came the announcement that sent shockwaves through the entire WWE universe. Braun Breaker, by virtue of that War Games victory, would challenge CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship on January 5th, the first Raw of 2025 on Netflix. The biggest match on the biggest stage for the biggest prize, but it was all built on a lie, all constructed from the shadows by a coward who wouldn't show his face. Fast forward to this week's Monday Night Raw. The main event was set: Logan Paul vs. Rey Mysterio, the social media megastar against the master of the 619. A match that should have been about legacy and respect, but everyone watching knew what was really going to happen. The mysterious attacker would strike again, and maybe, just maybe, CM Punk would finally catch his ghost. The match played out exactly as you'd imagine when Logan Paul is involved: flash, arrogance, and controversy. Paul worked over the legendary Rey Mysterio with calculated precision, but Rey is a warrior who's been fighting through adversity his entire 3-decade career. The crowd was electric, cheering for the masked superhero who's given everything to this business. And then, right on cue, like clockwork, like destiny screaming from the rafters, here comes the mystery man. Hooded, masked, moving with purpose through the shadows and chaos of the arena. The attacker slid into position, and before anyone could react, delivered another sickening stomp to Rey Mysterio on the ring apron. The impact echoed like a gunshot. Rey crumpled, Logan Paul capitalized with a frog splash, and once again, the Vision walked away victorious on the back of masked interference. But this time was different. This time, CM Punk was ready. Armed with a steel chair and righteous fury in his eyes, the world heavyweight champion stormed that ring like a man possessed. The mystery attacker, sensing the danger, bolted into the crowd, trying to disappear the way he always did. But Punk wasn't letting that happen. Not tonight. Not after weeks of torment. Not after having his victories stolen and his reputation questioned. The attacker fled through the sea of fans, pushing people aside, desperately trying to create distance between himself and the Chicago Mauler hot on his heels. And then, in a moment that will be replayed forever, in a moment that became instant history, the mystery man stopped running. He turned to face his pursuer. Slowly, deliberately, he reached up and pulled down his hood. The mask came off. The reveal hit like a nuclear bomb. Austin Theory. A-Town down. The former golden boy of WWE, the man who was once handpicked by Vince McMahon himself, the guy who beat John Cena at WrestleMania 39 but never quite lived up to the massive expectations placed on his young shoulders. Theory had been missing from WWE television since July, seemingly lost in the shuffle after his tag team with Grayson Waller imploded. Many assumed he was injured, others thought he'd been released. Nobody, and I mean nobody, saw this coming. The new look told the whole story. Austin Theory had shaved his head, transformed his appearance, reinvented himself as something darker, something more dangerous. The pretty boy was gone, replaced by a calculated assassin willing to do whatever it took to claw his way back to relevance. This wasn't the cocky kid taking selfies anymore. This was a predator who'd been studying from the shadows, learning from the Vision, becoming something WWE had never seen from him before. CM Punk stood there, chair raised high, processing what he was seeing. The recognition washed over his face like a wave of betrayal. Austin Theory, a young star Punk had no personal history with, someone from a completely different generation had been the one targeting him all along. Why? What could Theory possibly gain from this? The answer became crystal clear seconds later when Braun Breaker's music hit and the Intercontinental Champion charged the ring like a freight train with no brakes. Punk, still reeling from the Theory revelation, turned right into a spear that nearly split him in half. Breaker stood over the fallen champion, lifted the World Heavyweight title high above his head, and the message couldn't have been clearer. January 5th is coming, and CM Punk's reign is in serious jeopardy. But what about Theory? Why did he align himself with the Vision? The pieces start fitting together when you look deeper into the story. After Grayson Waller betrayed him to join the New Day, Austin Theory was left without direction, without purpose, floating in the midcard with no clear path forward. Enter Paul Heyman, the master manipulator, the special counsel who's made a career out of identifying potential and weaponizing it. Heyman saw what everyone else missed: Austin Theory's desperation, his hunger to prove he belongs at the top, his willingness to do anything to reclaim the spotlight he once had. I want to pause for just 1 second and say something from my heart. If you're watching this breakdown, if you've made it this far into this story with me, you're exactly the kind of fan SLAMZONE was built for. You care about the details, the psychology, the real story behind what we see on screen. That means everything to me. So please, if you haven't already, hit that like button to help this video reach more people who love wrestling as much as we do. Subscribe and become part of this family, because we're building something special here, a community that appreciates the art form, respects the performers, and never takes this incredible business for granted. Your support keeps me going every single week, and I can't do this without you. Now, back to the carnage. The implications of Austin Theory's unmasking are absolutely massive. First and foremost, the Vision just became exponentially more dangerous. You've got Braun Breaker, the second-generation powerhouse destined for greatness. Bronson Reed, the Australian wrecking ball who destroys everything in his path. Logan Paul, the most polarizing megastar in WWE who brings mainstream attention and legitimate athletic ability. Paul Heyman, the greatest advocate in professional wrestling history. And now Austin Theory, a former United States champion, a former Raw Tag Team champion, a man who shared the ring with John Cena, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins, adding youth, speed, and desperation to an already dominant faction. For CM Punk, this changes everything about his title defense on January 5th. He's not just facing Braun Breaker one-on-one anymore. He's walking into a war where the odds are stacked 5-1. Theory's involvement guarantees interference, chaos, and the very real possibility that Punk's championship reign could end not by Breaker's skill alone, but through the numbers game the Vision specializes in. Think about the booking brilliance here for a second. Austin Theory needed this. His career was stalling, the fans had turned on him, and he was dangerously close to becoming another what could have been story. By aligning him with the Vision as their secret weapon, WWE has given Theory the reset button he desperately needed. He's no longer the failed golden boy. He's now the calculating strategist who cost CM Punk his War Games match, who systematically took out legends like Rey Mysterio, who operated in the shadows while everyone else stood in the light. That's character development, that's storytelling, and that's how you rehabilitate a star whose trajectory had completely flatlined. For Braun Breaker, this is the validation he's been seeking since arriving on the main roster. He's dominant, he's physically gifted beyond measure, he's got one of the greatest wrestling pedigrees in history as the son of Rick Steiner and nephew of Scott Steiner. But there's always been that question mark: can he beat the very best on the biggest stage without shortcuts? The January 5th match will answer that question, though now we know he'll have Theory as insurance. And CM Punk? This might be the most dangerous CM Punk we've seen since his return. Not because he's more physical or more skilled than before, but because he's motivated by something primal now. He's been embarrassed, outsmarted, beaten down by a kid he probably never even considered a threat. That kind of disrespect cuts deeper than any physical attack. Punk's entire brand is built on being the smartest guy in the room, the man who's always 3 steps ahead, the voice of the voiceless who speaks truth to power. Austin Theory just made him look like everyone else. The beauty of this storyline is how many directions it can go from here. Does CM Punk successfully defend his title on January 5th against impossible odds, cementing his legacy as the greatest comeback story in WWE history? Does Braun Breaker capture the World Heavyweight Championship with an assist from his Vision teammates, launching the next generation into the stratosphere? Does Austin Theory get overconfident and accidentally cost the Vision the match, creating dissension in the ranks? There's also the fascinating dynamic between Theory and the established stars of the Vision. Logan Paul isn't going to love sharing attention with another young star. Bronson Reed does his own thing, a force of nature who doesn't play well with others. And Paul Heyman has orchestrated faction implosions before. Just ask the original ECW roster, or Brock Lesnar, or Roman Reigns. The seeds of destruction are already planted, even in victory. What we witnessed on Monday Night Raw was more than just an unmasking, it was a declaration of war. Austin Theory looked directly into the camera after revealing himself, that new shaved head glistening under the arena lights, and you could see it in his eyes. No more jokes, no more selfies, no more playing the role WWE creative carved out for him. This is Austin Theory unleashed, unfiltered, and aligned with the most dangerous group on Monday nights. The crowd reaction to the reveal was mixed, and that's perfect. Some fans popped because they guessed correctly or because they're excited to see Theory in a prominent storyline again. Others groaned because they never connected with Theory's previous character work. But that noise, whether positive or negative, that's engagement. That's people caring. That's the entire point of professional wrestling, making people feel something, anything, rather than apathy. CM Punk now has to navigate the treacherous waters between now and January 5th, knowing he can't trust anyone. Every shadow could be Theory waiting to strike. Every match could be interrupted. Every celebration could turn into an ambush. The paranoia, the constant looking over his shoulder, it adds layers to his character that make him more human, more relatable, more compelling to watch. We're also watching the torch being passed in real time, though Punk isn't ready to hand it over just yet. Braun Breaker is 26 years old. Austin Theory is 27. These are the men WWE is building the next decade around, whether veteran fans want to accept it or not. CM Punk, at 46, represents the last connection to a previous era, the final boss that the new generation must defeat to truly establish their dominance. It's the circle of life in professional wrestling, and we're witnessing a crucial chapter. Before I wrap this up, I want to say thank you. Thank you for being here, for caring about these stories, for investing your time in SLAMZONE. If this breakdown helped you understand the story better, if it got you more excited for what's coming, do me one last favor: hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and share this video with another wrestling fan who needs to see it. We're building something special here, a family that appreciates the craft, respects the performers, and never takes this beautiful chaos for granted. The mystery is solved, but the war has just begun. Austin Theory's mask is off, the Vision is stronger than ever, and CM Punk stands alone against an army ready to rip the World Heavyweight Championship from his hands. January 5th, the first Monday Night Raw on Netflix, will be explosive, emotional, and potentially career-defining for everyone involved. Will Punk overcome the numbers game and prove that veteran cunning trumps youth and aggression? Will Braun Breaker fulfill his destiny and claim the title his family name demands? Will Austin Theory's gamble pay off, or will he crash and burn on the grandest stage? We don't have those answers yet, but we will soon. And when we do, when that 3 count hits or that submission is locked in or the championship changes hands, SLAMZONE will be right here breaking it down, analyzing every detail, telling you the real story behind the story. This is where legends are made, where careers are defined, where moments become immortal. And you just witnessed one of them the night Austin Theory stopped hiding in the shadows and stepped into the war he helped create. Stay locked in, stay passionate, and never stop believing in the magic of professional wrestling. This is SLAMZONE, this is your wrestling home, and I'll see you in the next breakdown when the smoke clears and the dust settles on what promises to be an unforgettable chapter in WWE history. Until then, keep the conversation going in the comments, tell me your predictions, share your theories, and most importantly remember that every story matters, every moment counts, and every wrestler deserves respect for putting their bodies on the line for our entertainment. The mask is off. The war is on. And CM Punk's revenge is just getting started. See you next time.